The Dreamy Dolman is a PDF sewing pattern meant for knit fabric, but of course I had to try it out of woven just for fun, and I did it just by using elastic at the neckline. I'm going to show you how so you can do it too. The only difference when cutting is that you're going to add a 3/4 inch seam allowance to both the front and back necklines. I used one of my kids' washable markers, and I'm happy to report that it was actually washable after I sewed it up. As you can see, I'm using my projector for this. Sorry the lighting isn't great, but I also wanted to show you the marker. If you're working with the printed pattern, just tape your pattern piece on top of another piece of paper and add your seam allowance. For the back bodice, the seam allowance is already added, and I'm also adding some to the middle because I'm saving fabric by cutting 2 mirrored halves. The other half of the back bodice looks different, but I promise it's just the camera angle. I sewed the back bodice pieces together at the center, and now cut your elastic to the length listed for the fabric neckband in the pattern instructions. So for a size 6, I cut mine 25 1/4. Fold the elastic in half and sew the short end together to make a loop. Just be sure you don't have any twists in your elastic. Next, mark the quarter points of your elastic. You might notice mine looks a little skinnier because I messed up and had to cut some off. Next, mark the quarter points along the neckline. You can do this by matching the shoulder seams and marking the folds, and then bringing those points together and marking your new folds. Match up the seam of the elastic with the midpoint of the back bodice. Match up the rest of your quarter points and repin around the neckline. We are pinning the elastic to the inside or the wrong side of our fabric. You're going to stretch the elastic as you sew, attaching it with a serger or a stretch stitch. Once the elastic is sewn, fold the neckline over to sandwich the elastic between the 2 layers of fabric. Now it's time to top stitch. Pick a straight stitch on your sewing machine. I set my length to 3 for this. With both fabric and elastic secured under the presser foot, put your needle down and back stitch. Making sure your needle is still down, stretch the elastic from the front and the back gently as you sew. Then anytime you have to adjust your hands, make sure the needle is down. Otherwise your fabric and elastic will shift. The rest of the pattern is sewn per the instructions without modification as long as you're doing the elastic waist version. I also want to share this crop top that I made using knit fabric for the waist and neckband and cotton woven for the bodice. Turned out pretty cute. And did I mention this pattern is nursing friendly? If you tried this, please let me know in the comments or post in my Facebook group. I'll share the links below. Also, it really helps me if you subscribe and like this video.